Hello, my friend, and welcome to another podcast episode. Before we dive in to today's topic, I just want to say, wow, what a summer it has been. Actually, when you hear this podcast, I will be yet traveling again. It has been a summer of travel and it's been chaotic and hectic. And what I'm about to talk about today is going to help all of us kind of get into that reset so that we could get back into healthy habits. I know this is a time of year as summer, the end of August is kind of winding down and kids are starting back in school. It's a big time for a lot of us to kind of get away from those summer vibes and those summer ways and go into the fall and start new routines. So I am looking forward to that, although I've loved my summer travel. And I'm really looking forward to get also back into a routine. I think the brain loves that novelty where we get to do something structured for a while. And then it also likes the freedom of the lack of structure. And then it needs some structure. So playing with that balance in life is, something we all do. And some of us need a little more structure. Some of us need a little more freedom or unstructure. And just really nice to know and come back to you and center yourself and say, okay, what do I need? So for me, I know I'm looking forward to the structure coming ahead and my travels slowing down. So today I wanted, well, actually, before we even go there, I want to tell you I have been making some edits and updates to my course offerings and my website because we are all a work in progress, my friends. And I'm pivoting a bit here, pivoting a bit there, just based on my interests and what I'm learning and what I want to offer to others because I think it's so powerful. So you will see if you do visit my website that I have updated my one-on-one coaching page and what I actually work with clients there. You'll be hearing a couple of podcast episodes upcoming about one-on-one work that I'm doing and the new avenues that I'm branching out into, which is so, so delicious and fun. It's been really awesome to watch the women and men that I've been coaching with really get some big transformative change in their life, like really break some habits that weren't working for them and really having breakthroughs. So that's been a lot of fun, and you'll see some of that on the website. Also, a change that I decided to make is when I talk to people about Epic U, everybody gets that Epic, everybody gets Epic U, but they don't get exactly what it is. So I'll be talking about that program again, based on what it was and what it morphed into, and going back to what it was, which is Drink Less Lifestyle, which is a community of women who want to be able to take it or leave it with alcohol. I know summer is a big time where boating season, beach season, all the things, drinking can ratchet back up. And so if you are in that season of life where you're like, hey, I'm a woman and I'm looking for community and support and some tools in how I can get this back under control and limit it in my life, we'd love to help you out in the Drink Less Lifestyle community. So fun. We have such a great time. I hope you don't think about it as, we sit and we talk about our woes. We sit and talk about how we can grow and what tools we can use to grow so that we can change our relationship, not just with alcohol, but really fundamentally, it comes down to changing the relationship you have with yourself. Because if you're not right with yourself, you're going to be looking to things outside of you to make you feel better. And alcohol is one of those things that we can look to make us feel better in the moment. So I invite you into checking out Drink Less Lifestyle. It is a monthly subscription. You can cancel at any time. You don't have to be in there for a certain amount of time. I get that question all the time. Do I have to subscribe for a certain amount of time? Nope. This is really for you to decide when you're ready to come in and when you're ready to leave. That's really the autonomy I want to give you because you have ultimate freedom and I want you to trust yourself and I want you to learn how to find that freedom so that you can live free and not be bound by anything, not contracts, not your drinking, not anything. I am a firm believer in autonomy, agency, and freedom. So come check us out if you are needing and wanting support. And then finally is my metabolic makeover program. I've changed that just a little bit based on the feedback I've gotten from some of the women who went through the program. You can see a testimonial on my website. Somebody has lost 13 pounds going through that program, and she was in midlife. She's 57, and she talked about how she just hit a plateau. Everything she was doing, from her diet to exercising and actually over exercising and all the things, she just wasn't getting that change until she went through the program and learned what she needed to do in order to get her body going again, right? And going again could look differently for some people than it does for others. So if you're metabolically going again, right, you're going to feel better. You're going to be losing weight if your body needs to lose weight, right? You're not going to be as weepy. You're not going to be as sad because you're going to be optimizing your hormones. Your hormones are serotonin and dopamine and insulin and thyroid and all the things. So we talk about all the things inside of that program. It is so, so robust, but not overwhelming. So if you are interested and you're in perimenopause or menopause, that's really who it's geared for. And you really want to look at, hey, I just want to feel better. I want to be healthier. I want to live very, very well and strong and be active into my 80s and my 90s. This is who that program is designed for. And you get my personal one-on-one help in there. So if you are interested in any of that, because now is the time to make change, ladies, as we are heading back into a season of routines and fall season. And if you have kids and they're going back to school, now you get some more free time to focus on you. All right. So with that, let's dive in today's topic, which is all about habits and looking at some of those saboteurs, things that are hidden that we may not even realize that we do that can sabotage our progress. So I am calling this the 5 hidden habits emotionally really that hold you back. So these are really looking how you get held back, and they could be hidden. They could be things that you think, "Oh, that's not so bad," or, "Huh, I wonder if I do that." And as you gain awareness and look back in your life, you might think, oh my gosh, one of these really hits home for me. And I really want to pay more attention to that because if that is a saboteur and that's not helping me get the progress I need, maybe I should focus my efforts there. So let's dive into those 5 hidden habits that we may have. So the first one is you keep yourself constantly busy. Okay, I know this hits home for some high achieving women or women who've got little kids running around the house or even school age kids, right? Of course, our lives are busy. They're full. We have jobs, we have kids, we have lots of activities. They have activities. Oftentimes, the woman is the social calendar for the household, a lot of decisions and parties and what we're doing and back to school nights and bake sales and all the things get funneled and filtered through us. And I get it. Life is busy and we like being busy. Being busy is not always a bad thing, but if you are constantly busy, constantly on the go, no free time, no downtime, making no time for you, this is definitely a hidden habit that's going to sabotage your long-term goals. And what I see on the other side of this, of course, you can keep going, keep going. I did that. And then all of a sudden you hit burnout. I see that with a lot of people when they enter metabolic makeover and we look at their cortisol is tanked. You think cortisol is running high? Nope. When you're burnt out, your cortisol is tanked. It's like your body has like, I've got no more in the tank. I gave everything I can. And then when you get the lab tests back and we look at it together, I'm like, wow, you've been going for a really long time. And I could tell because your cortisol is in the toilet. And I've discovered that with a few of the clients that have been through the program, right? They're like, oh my gosh, why don't I have the energy? Why do I just want to be a pancake in bed? Why do I have to drink so much coffee or so much soda to get out of bed? And why don't I feel like doing more? And when there's this so much to do on my plate. So if you are constantly, constantly busy, I just want you to ask yourself, is this level of busyness allowing me to achieve my health and wellness goals? And if the answer is yes, then maybe it's the appropriate level of busyness. But if the answer is no, you're not achieving your number one, your number two health priority goals, then we really need to consider how you're spending your time, right? We really need to consider how you're going to look at what needs to go and what needs to be removed or dedicated to another period of time. Maybe now is not the right season to tackle that project. Maybe somebody else can do that project. Maybe we can hire help at the household, right? We can look at different ways that you are still able to reach your goals. Because listen, once your cortisol is in the tank, once you've hit burnout, it takes not weeks, my friends. I've worked with women. It takes months sometimes to get your adrenals to come back and for you to feel functioning back to normal. So, my caution to you is don't let yourself burn out that quick, that fast, and that hard, right? Make sure you're taking care of yourself. And it doesn't mean you need all day Saturday and all day Sunday, right? It doesn't mean you need these humongous periods of time. And I think that's where a lot of women go wrong. It's like, oh, they feel guilty for even just taking an hour for themselves. And an hour, really, out of a week or 2 hours out of the week, that's not a lot of time. I bet you if you look at other people in your household, they're getting an hour or 2 or more a week of personal time where they can focus on them, whether they're playing with their cars and their trucks and their Legos, or whether they're out of the house golfing or doing their thing. I bet you the other members of the family are getting in some personal time. And you need that too. You need some downtime, or however that looks like for you. I know for me, it feels really good to read a book. That feels like downtime to me. That feels like rejuvenation. Will that look the same for everybody? No, but it really is a way that I can decompress and calm my nervous system so I'm not always on the go, 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 and not activated. And my adrenaline is coursing and rushing and rushing and rushing and rushing. And then I feel exhausted at the end of the day. So, if you are keeping yourself constantly busy, consider that maybe a hidden habit that is holding you back from the health and wellness that you want. Number two, this one's a good one. You are being a victim of your emotions. So, this is another hidden emotional habit. You're being a victim to your emotions. What does that mean? You let your feelings dominate everything. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like making dinner. I don't feel like going out to eat. I don't feel like cleaning the house. I don't feel like doing the laundry. I don't feel like going to work. I don't feel like this, right? Or I'm too sad to do that, or I'm too unhappy to do that, or whatever it is. Or, wow, it's too much effort to pick up the phone and call that person back, right? We're constantly being the victim to our emotions. And notice when you get that way, you cave very easily. You justify a lot of things. Oh, I worked a long day. You justify another drink. You justify continuing to drink. You justify the fourth drink, right? Your excuses keep coming, right? So these are ways that we are constantly giving in and playing the victim to our emotions. Now, that's not to say you always have to have control over them. However, you should learn to master them, at least for a period of the day or a period of the week, so that you're getting your most important things done. And so if you struggle with chronic anxiety, which is certainly the case for so many people that I work with, is they are in this habit of worrying, right? They're always thinking about the future, worrying about this, worrying about that. I'll even hear, oh my gosh, I see Halloween stuff out. Oh my gosh, it's making me think of Halloween. And I'm stressing about the Halloween party. And I'm stressing already about Christmas and where we're going to go for Thanksgiving and, all the things, right? They're constantly in that habit of worrying. And it's like, hey, slow down. We're in August, right? We don't have to have every last minute detail planned out. It's okay. And if we don't manage these emotions, we succumb to them. And when we succumb to them, what happens is our health deteriorates, our habits deteriorate. And so that's the reason we don't want to succumb to them all the time. It's the whole reason I put together the Mastering Your Emotional Health program, which you can get on my website. It's $47. And I tell you, people who have taken this course, it's really a master class on how to master your emotional health. They tell me, oh my gosh, wow, I didn't realize I can use these tools. And I feel so much better because I'm not falling victim to my emotions all the time. I'm learning how to master my emotions, right? So that I can go and still achieve the things that are important to me. So, if you think about depression, what is depression? It's, thinking about a lot of self criticism. I'm not good enough. I'm not getting enough done. I have this to do at my job. I have this to do at home. And there's this critical element that keeps talking to us. And this is what I deal with a lot of women, right? They want to achieve so much. And if they don't get the 37 items done, on their to-do list each day, right? They might even get 36 of them done, which is phenomenal, right? Or get the big ones done. There's still that little criticism, self-talk at the end of the day, or even throughout the day, that starts to wear on them emotionally. And if that's not reined in, right? If we don't notice that hidden habit, then that's going to permeate throughout our days, throughout our weeks, throughout our months, and it just provides this like low level chronic blues or sadness or depression that life isn't as colorful and as peaceful and as calm as we'd like it. And so, learning how to master your emotional health is so key to feeling a little bit better each day. So key to understanding, oh my gosh, when I'm falling victim to my emotions all the time, and this is why I'm not feeling better, it's something to tune into. So notice if you have that hidden habit. And if you have that hidden habit, right, we have to carve out time. We have to make time for that self reflection, that discovery. Like, what is really going on? Why am I always falling victim to my emotions? Why do I always feel this way? Right? Why do I always feel this way at 5 o'clock, so revved up and so I don't want to be with the family, do dinner, right? Those were some of the questions I had to ask because that's why I was constantly going to pour the Chardonnay. All right. So, next hidden habit is you try and fix other people's emotions. Hmm. Notice if your kids have a hard day. This just recently happened to me. So, my daughter got her class schedule and I was out of town. And she texts me her class schedule and she says, I am so angry. She used different words, but I'll just keep it PG for this podcast. She said, I'm so angry. I can't believe I have this class. I don't want this the way they're structured, meaning she started with her least favorite class in the beginning and how that's going to, change how she feels throughout the day. She has this class first and she wanted it last. Then she didn't want these teachers and all of this. So she was really unhappy. And what do I text back? I do the opposite of what I'm going to tell you to do. So I was uncomfortable that she was uncomfortable with her emotions. And what did I try to do? I tried to cheer her up. I tried to fix her emotions. I tried to cheer her up. I tried to make her not feel so bad by what I responded back, which is like, oh, well, let's talk to your counselor and let's see if there's things we can do about it or make some changes. Right. And it was so interesting because she wrote me back exactly what I'm going to say to do if this is something you struggle with. She said, Mom, I'm angry. Can you just let me be angry? And that was so much wisdom because I think we do this a lot as women. We want to fix how our spouse feels about a bad day at work or how our children feel or if they fall off their bicycle or get hurt. And what we can sometimes do is try to make them feel better when they're not ready. And that doesn't allow them to experience the depth of the emotion. And we are also, if you think about it, suggesting let's not feel bad. Let's only go towards good feelings. And when you do that, there's a couple of things that happen. First and foremost, you're kind of signaling that it's not good to have bad emotions. And I know a lot of people, a lot of therapists, a lot of coaches, a lot of people I hear out there, they don't like to classify emotions as bad or good. But just for the context, they're low level emotions. They're emotions that maybe we don't want, but we often experience sadness, despair, pain in some way. And so, if we're constantly trying to talk people into good emotions, we are really not equipping them and their body to know how to deal and process low level or bad emotions. Not only that, the second thing we do when we don't allow people to be with their emotions and we try to fix them too early or move them past them before they're ready is that we wind up invalidating them. And if you're a parent and you do this to your kids, they will need therapy and resent you later in life. For sure. For sure. Right? If you invalidate how they're feeling, it's almost like you're taking away something that feels so true and so meaningful to them and making it meaningless. Like if your kid falls down and they get a bruised knee and you're like, oh, let's just put a band aid on it. It's going to feel all better. Don't worry. We'll get through this. You're basically telling your child that bruise shouldn't hurt. Move on. Put on your bootstraps. Let's go. But what that kid needs to hear is, yeah, it hurts. I've been there. I've scabbed my knee. Man, it's so painful. And how many times do we do this with other adults? We don't allow them to feel their emotions. We say, "Oh, let's go out for a drink and you'll forget about it in the morning. Oh, just have another," right? And we invalidate their painful experience. I've seen people do this when they lose jobs or when they're going through a hard time with their spouse. They like invalidate the person who means so much to them, whether it be a sister, a friend, and there is damage that occurs to the person when you invalidate their feelings. So just because you can't tolerate or don't want to tolerate their negative emotion, we'll say it from that perspective. But don't go try fixing somebody because they know they're trying to get fixed and that does not feel good. And when you have to fix somebody else's emotion for you to feel good, just shows you that you have more room and more work where you can work with your emotions so you don't allow their emotions to overtake you and change you, but you can be with them in their emotions. That's emotional maturity. That's having a high emotional IQ. All right, so moving on. Next, hidden emotional habit that can be sabotaging our progress is we run away or we want to numb those emotions. This is what I did at 5 o'clock every day for years, it felt like, right? It's like, there's some of these emotions coming up, whether I'm disappointed I didn't get everything done, or I've got to now transition to mom mode out of work mode. And now I got to do dinner and homework and bath time and story time and la 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 and the laundry, right? It's like, I don't want to handle these emotions. I wanted to run away and I wanted to numb. And occasionally, I don't feel it's bad to run away or want to numb, but if you're doing this consistently, you are going to be missing out on a more blessed life for sure. For sure. I bet there will come a time in your life where you will look back and say, wow, that was a behavior or a way of coping that I could have handled better had I had the skill set and the tools. And that's why I'm so passionate about teaching inside the Drink Less lifestyle. And that's why I called it Epic You, because not only are we working on your relationship with alcohol, but we're working on your relationship with yourself, with your emotions, what's going on, so that you can slay it and not have to escape it, not have to numb it, not have to run away from the pain. And I'm not saying sit in the pain for hours and hours on end, but let's sit in the pain long enough so we can understand what is truly causing the pain. Is it your brain? Is it your job? Is it your marriage? Is it your kids? Like, what is causing the pain? Is it yourself? Are you putting all this unnecessary pressure on yourself? Right? Like, looking at where the pain comes from gives us the starting point on what we need to work on, so that the drinking desire becomes irrelevant. So it's not even there because we've cleared up the root cause. And I love doing this so much because there are so many modalities and tools that we can use so that we get to that root cause rather than just using the band aid of alcohol. And if we need to keep applying the band aid and keep applying the band aid and the wound is still there, the band aid is never healing. Alcohol is never healing, right? It's just preventing the blood from dripping. But the wound underneath is never healing. And how do we know? Because our level of desire for the alcohol keeps the same or keeps growing. So the wound just keeps getting bigger. We just don't know how to handle this situation. We just don't know what to do with ourselves at 5 o'clock when the witching hour comes. Join Drink Less Lifestyle and you'll learn exactly how to handle these conditions and these situations so that you become better at managing your life and yourself. So, on a more positive note, when you become emotionally resilient, when you learn how to handle and master your emotions, then you become tolerant of other people's emotions and yours. And you learn how to really work with that energy. If it's negative energy, we can learn to make it neutral. It's just an energy filling the body, right? That's what emotions are. I mean, they're not anything more concrete than that. Really, just energy in the body that doesn't feel like good energy. It feels like bad energy. And that's why we call them bad emotions or negative feelings. But you can work with that energy to make it more neutral, and you can even work with it to make it positive. Now, I'm not saying we always want to make it positive. Sometimes just getting to neutrality helps it dissipate and that we're able to be on task, we're able to focus, and we're not spinning out and we're not self sabotaging or doing behaviors that we don't want. All right. And then the final hidden emotional habit that may be causing sabotaging your progress on your health and wellness goals is that you procrastinate a lot. A lot. So it's okay to procrastinate sometimes. You got to tune into your body. One time I was going to go to the gym. I tuned into my body. I'm like, nope, it's just not feeling it. I looked at my aura ring. My scores weren't optimal. And yeah, I just said, I'm going to take some rest rather than go work out. But did I procrastinate the next day? No, I went, I did it. Right. So it's if you procrastinate a lot. Notice if you use language that I'm going to do it tomorrow and tomorrow never comes. You said something at the beginning of the year. Maybe you set a New Year's resolution and now it's 8 months in, almost 9, and you've still not gotten around to that. So then you have to assess, hey, is that still a priority for me? Working on my drinking goals, working on my health goals, right? Is that still a priority for me? Or is that something that I just keep telling myself and it's an illusion and I'm not getting around to it? Right? Like if it's learning a second or a third language, right? Maybe something that you can put off and want to put off for a while. Okay. But if something as precious as your health, something as precious as your internal organs, something as precious as your brain, I can't think of anything more precious than your brain. I mean, just think when people's brain stops working. That is a fate none of us want. We don't want dementia. We don't want Alzheimer's. We don't want our brains to stop working. That's very scary. But yet, a lot of us are doing things in our life that is making our brain less optimal. And that may catch up to us, right? So, if we're procrastinating a lot, really just look at your priorities. Look at the things you want to commit to. And is there something in your life you keep procrastinating? You might want to be asking yourself why. And maybe there's some other hidden emotional habits on this list that can kind of clue you into, oh, that's why I'm procrastinating. Oh, that's what I'm procrastinating on. Right. So that you can not beat yourself up. This is never about beating yourself up. This is always about awareness. Awareness so that you can manifest the change and invite in the change that you want. I want to share with you as we wrap up that there is a little piece of paper that I keep on my wall here in my office that reminds me about healthy habits or habits that benefit me. So, helpful habits. Some women say, I don't like healthy. I want to use helpful or I want to use effective habits, whatever. Yeah, you use wording that works for you. But habits are a way we honor commitments. And I have that hanging up on my wall. Habits are a way we honor our commitments. And it's really true. If you really want to be committed to something, if you really want an identity, right? Like I want to take it or leave it around alcohol, that requires commitment. And to be committed to it means you're not doing it off and on. You're not doing it off and on. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It means you need to be consistent. And when you're consistent, it turns into a habit, right? So habits are the way we honor our commitments. Healthy habits are the way we honor our health. That's why I love talking about health and habits because I want to be as healthy as I can for as long as I can. And really want to look to what I'm doing in my lifestyle that's either preventing or helping me get there. And so if I've got a blind spot, I love it when I discover it so that I could say, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that. Or if somebody else discovers one for me, I love that too, may hurt at first. It might be a little painful to hear. Like, Mom, you're yelling too much at me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I probably am if that's what you're experiencing from me, right? May hurt, but then it gives me an opportunity to reflect and then decide if I want to change. And if I do, how am I going to go about doing that? Yeah. So I think it's so helpful. We are always a work in progress. We're not about perfection. Before I let you go, I just want to say habits show what we are committed to. Your habits do scream what you're committed to, because what you do over and over and over and over and over again shows you the identity you're building for yourself. And I think it's really helpful to think about that from that perspective, because if we're building an identity currently that we don't want, we have the opportunity to change it today. All right, my friend, so amazing to be with you. Happy start to this new fall season and September that's coming. And I can't wait to be with you next week. I'll see you then. Thanks for listening to the Health Habits and Epic Living podcast. If you're ready to take the next step to improve your health, wellness, and lifestyle goals, head over to www.epicu.com and sign up for my weekly newsletter. Again, that's EPICYOU.com. Please note that the information in this podcast is for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice.